Well, I did a little video on this yesterday. I just ran a little bit, but figure I'd give you a walk around on the Barko 160B we got. When I started here 8 years ago, or is it 9 years ago, this is what we ran for the slasher. We didn't have that apprentice, obviously, so worked on it quite a bit. But this is one of the big differences in this one compared to our other one. We had the other one built the other way, is that this saw cuts the other way compared to our apprentice. If you notice on the apprentice videos, the saw actually cuts this way on the other one. And we did that just for this reason right here. It's because we can bring a lot of logs up to in between the chipper and slasher. And with this setup, everything's got to be picked up and heeled over top of the saw and then set in your cradle right here. Whereas the new one, you just pick it up and set it over there. It's all the opposite of this one. We did that because it's just a lot easier setup. And it actually works out really, really well. So when you got to jump back into this one, you realize how much of a hassle it is picking all this wood up over top of your saw rather than just over top of your cradle bars over there. So this is her. It's a, I don't know how long Mike's had it, but it's not bad to run. It just is a little slower. And the foot swing on it, I'll get some video of it. The foot swing is super sloppy and it takes off on you. So whereas the chipper, the second you let off my handle, it stops. And this one, when you let off that foot swing, it'll just keep going and going and going. It won't stop. So you constantly are moving your feet back and forth to correct itself to stop it. That's one of the bigger annoyances, but it ain't no big deal. Somebody asked me yesterday if I have ever run my saw into the bucket, and that's another thing with the new one. The new one's a whole different design compared to this one, and it's a lot better design. HandFab did a good job on that one. Other one's got that plate right here, so when you shut it, that plate comes down and blocks this off, so you can't get your bucket in there and hit your saw blade. This is all opened up in there, as you can see, so you can get your bucket in there if you're not careful, which is especially hard with the slop of this thing. With your swing slop, you can get your tongs in there pretty easily. And they asked if I've ever done it. I never have. Never hit the bucket on a saw blade before. I've seen numerous other people do it. One person I've seen do it about 3 years ago is, yeah, I won't say his name, but that was a good argument we had. Still to this day we argue about it. He knocked all the teeth out and then left for lunch, so I had to put teeth in it while he was gone. And I'll make a tooth video one of these days, Julie. See that tooth's gone? The carbide's gone off the end. That one's gone. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to have that tip on there. And I think there's 6 of them knocked out. And you just pop that rivet out and then put some new ones on, but that's what they're supposed to look like here. So she's got a few missing, but that's what we're dealing with. And she's got the John Deere motor in it. This has the Big John trailer still, self-drive, them front tires steer there, both of them drive. You got your Eaton tranny right here, runs off your hydraulics. Big old chunk of cement for weight. So, don't you? They just tucked the motor in here. Ain't nothing special. Just a John Deere. But it runs good. And these slashers, they last a long time. They don't get abused as far as like chippers, skidders, even fires, stuff like that. That don't happen a lot on these slashers because they're pretty self-contained. You know, there's not a lot of stuff going on, whereas the skidder's got a bunch of stuff all over it, and the chipper's got stuff all over it. Punchers get stuff all over it. Here's the inside, and I'll show you the controls once I fire it up. But I'll get down and show you the bucket. I'll show you a couple things here, make a giggle. I just try not to fall. You'll see a couple things here. See that right there? Yeah. That's from the saw. Taken off into her. Somebody nicked it with a saw. And I think that was the only one. I thought there might have been another one, but it might have got welded up. But we've worked quite a bit on this bucket, as you can tell with the different welds here. This tong broke off. We had to weld that back on there. All this has been busted off up in here, but it lasts pretty good.
Don't forget someone cut into it too.
Somebody cut into it? Where? I forgot you hit it with the... I forgot you tried to cut the bucket into an 8-footer that one day. Just got up in the cab, and she's just simple. The radio's wanting to work finally. So here's how you drive this thing. You gotta kick. This is just how goofy it is. How interesting is you kick your saw in, hold that lever back. You push forward. That's your forward. This is your reverse. Hold this button down. Push forward. That'll turn your steering wheels right. Pull it back. It'll turn your steering wheels to the left. Steering wheel to the left. Wheels. That's how interesting this thing is. That's just to drive it. You got to do that little sequence. These are your stiff legs here. Those two levers. This lever here is also your bump plate back and forth to do 8 10-footers. And I love this electrical tape, especially when the sun hits it. It gets sticky all over your hands. Here's the throttle hidden way down over here. Joysticks are just like the ones on the chipper. Pull this baby up, she comes up. Your foot swings when it's fun. You swing to the left. Now my feet are off from this thing, and look at it. I'm not touching it. That's what you got to be careful about. This thing takes right off on you. But here we go. Push this button down to the left and pull it back towards me. Saw goes up. Push it down. Saw goes down. Push to the right with the button down. Push to the left with the button down. And then, like I said, this slides that from 10 foot to 8 foot. That's kind of how this thing's run. A little tricky, but we got to watch out for some foot swings. This thing just float all over the place. It'll get you in trouble if you're not careful. Button on this one. That's your live heel up there. See it? Pick those trees right on. That's what a live heel is on this thing right there.